I was dreaming. For a long time, I have occasionally been aware that I am dreaming while dreaming. This time was no different. For some reason, I found myself alone at a dimly lit, deserted station. I thought to myself what a gloomy dream this was. Suddenly, an announcement was made at the station in a lifeless male voice. It was a bizarre message. The train will arrive shortly. If you board this train, you will encounter something terrifying. Soon after, a train arrived at the station. It looked more like one of those monkey trains you find in amusement parks, with a few pale-faced men and women sitting in a row. Despite thinking how strange the dream was, I became curious to see how much fear it could instill in me, so I decided to board the train. I thought that if it became unbearably scary, I could simply wake up. I have always been able to wake up from dreams at will, but only when I am aware that I am dreaming. I sat in the third seat from the back of the train. The air around was lukewarm, and the realism was so vivid that I doubted if it was really a dream. "We are departing now," announced the voice, and the train started moving. I was a mix of anxious and excited about what would happen next. Shortly after leaving the platform, the train entered a tunnel illuminated by a purple-ish light, giving it an eerie glow. I thought to myself that the scenery in this tunnel reminded me of the thrill rides I used to take at amusement parks as a child. This train resembling a monkey train, and the scenery were just bringing back images from my past memories. Not scary at all. Then, another announcement came. "Next is live sashimi, live sashimi." Live sashimi? Like fish? As I was contemplating this, a terrible scream came from behind. Turning around, I saw 4 dwarf-like figures, draped in rags, swarming around a man sitting at the very back. Upon closer inspection, the man was being sliced with a knife, becoming a grotesque version of live sashimi. A strong smell enveloped the area, and the man screamed in agony as his organs were removed one by one, scattering blood-soaked viscera around. A pale, long-haired woman sat directly behind me, but despite the commotion, she remained silent, facing forward as if unbothered by the chaos. Shocked by the turn of events far beyond my imagination, I began to fear this might not be a dream and decided to watch a bit longer before waking up. When I looked again, the man at the back had disappeared, leaving behind a lump of blood and flesh. The woman behind me still stared blankly at a single point. "Next is gouging, gouging," announced the voice. Then 2 dwarfs appeared and started gouging out the woman's eyes with a serrated spoon-like object. Her expressionless face contorted in pain, and she screamed so loudly behind me that it felt like my eardrums might burst. Her eyeballs were popping out. The smell of blood and sweat was unbearable. Terrified and trembling, I faced forward and hunched over. I thought it was high time to leave. I couldn't take it anymore, especially since it seemed like my turn was next, being the third one seated. I tried to wake up from the dream, but decided to wait for what announcement would come for me before fleeing the scene. The announcement came. "Next is ground meat, ground meat." This was the worst. I could easily imagine what would happen next, so I concentrated and tried to wake up from the dream. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Normally, strongly willing it like this works. Suddenly, I heard a mechanical whirring sound. This time, a dwarf climbed onto my knees and brought a strange machine close to me. Thinking it was probably a tool to grind me into mince, I became terrified and, closing my eyes tightly, willed with all my might to wake up. The whirring sound grew louder, and just when I felt the air pressure on my face and thought it was over, everything went quiet. Somehow, I managed to escape the nightmare. I was soaked in sweat all over, with tears streaming down my face. Heading from my bed to the kitchen, I drank a lot of water and finally calmed down. I told myself it was just a dream, no matter how terrifyingly real it felt. The next day, I told all my friends at school about the dream, but they were only amused. After all, it was just a dream. 4 years passed, and I, now a university student, had completely forgotten about the incident and was busy with part-time jobs. Then, one night, it suddenly began again. "Next is gouging, gouging." It was the same scene as before. I immediately remembered, that dream. Just like last time, 2 dwarfs were gouging out the woman's eyeballs. Thinking this was bad, I quickly started willing. "Wake up, wake up, wake up." But this time, I couldn't wake up easily. "Wake up." Next is ground meat, ground meat. Things were getting seriously bad. The whirring sound approached. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Please wake up. Suddenly, it went quiet. Just when I thought I had somehow escaped and tried to open my eyes, are you running away again? The next time will be the last. I clearly heard that announcement's voice. When I opened my eyes, indeed, I was fully awake and in my room. The last announcement I heard was definitely not part of the dream. I heard it in the real world. What on earth have I done? Since then, I have not had that dream again. But if I do see it next time, I'm prepared to die of a heart attack or something. In this world, it might be a heart attack, but in that world, it's ground meat.